Hello guys, welcome to this project 4 where we're going to be deploying this time on Kubernetes. In the previous project, we deployed our application on ECS, that's Elastic Container Service, and now we're going to look at how it looks like on Kubernetes. As we know, Kubernetes is more of a container orchestration platform that permits us to deploy containers based off of what we call a manifest files. So the manifest files, those are YAML files that explains to our Kubernetes cluster how it's going to deploy the different containers or the different services as far as orchestrating our container is concerned. So now we're going to look at how smart Kubernetes is all about by trying to deploy the simple application of the application that we know and we have been deploying all along. So here we see that the developer pushes his updates inside his app code repository, which will cause a GitHub actions to trigger Sonar scan. After it scans, it will build our image, and then we use Trivy to scan our image. And then now we use another tool which is called Helm. Helm is more of a tool that makes changes to these manifest files. The manifest files, let's just see the manifest files as similar to the JSON config files that we have in ECS. Okay, that's the file that is obviously going to permit our cluster to know which container to run, which version of the container to run, and the number of the containers to actually run them. So actually, let's just put that in mind as far as our manifest. When we talk about manifest files are concerned, we're going to explore all of that in a second. So Helm now, when there is a build, obviously the new image has a new tag. That's the new version of it. Okay, so Helm now is the tool that we use it to update the tag inside this manifest files. Okay, so once Helm does that, we're going to push our ECR image, our image inside our ECR, and then we're going now to push the updated that's the files that Helm updated. We're going to push it now inside our second repository, where Argo CD now is the resource that, or the application, if you can call it that way, that is monitoring now this second repository in such a way that once there are any changes, what will happen is that Argo now will trigger a new deployment on Kubernetes. We're going to see how all of this setup is. Argo is really smart. It will make our infrastructure really very smart. That's once there is a change in our, maybe there's a new deployment, Argo will just see that, okay, there is a new deployment here. So it's going to now update now the Kubernetes cluster and make everything to be updated. We can optionally now set up our monitoring with Prometheus Grafana and probably with Slack to notify when maybe a pipeline builds or fails. So this is globally what we're going to be building inside this project. Next thing we have to do is that we need to make sure we have the code in our local machines, and to do so, the fastest way to do that is to fork it to our own repository. That is, we come to DevOps mentorship and we open the app repository first. We'll notice all the description and all the directives on how to run all of that as the readme. So we'll come to fork and we'll click on fork. So it's going to replicate it to our own repository. So I'm simply just supposed to give it a name and then create a fork. So I have done that already. So I have all repositories forked. If you notice here, you'd see that it's carrying my own name and it's taking the manifest. I had to modify it into the name forked. If I come here, I can go to in my own repository. Let me open that one was the manifest. Let me check the app. That's the app report. So it's going to open both repositories on my own repository now. Okay, I have forked it. You see fork from all of those. So it's the same information here, fork from that. So we get to the main, we fork them, Okay, we get them to our own repository, and the next thing now is to clone it to our local machine. All right, so we'll simply do clone, we'll copy the code, and we'll come to our local terminal now and run git clone. So I have done that as well. So I have both folders open inside my um, VS Code. Okay, so now the very first thing that we need to do is to get to the README file and follow the steps. I tried to make sure we have a step-by-step guide that is going to lead us and explain, okay, how to do it and what every step, every command does. Okay, so we need to read carefully. The very first thing that we need to look into is the application repository. Okay, and to do that, let's first of all try to understand what happens. We want our pipeline, which is inside here, the build this pipeline file. So once we push to main, it should trigger it, which will build the var, build the Docker, and then push the Docker, and then update our manifest in the Kubernetes files. That's the Kubernetes manifest, so that it will be able to update the changes using Argo CD. So we're going to look into all of that step by step. I didn't want to complicate. I reduced the build steps so that I try to be somehow precise, so that we understand the goal of the project, which is understanding working on EKS. Okay, so for the application stack, we have our app, which is running on Tomcat JDK 21 or JDK 17. They work fine. Our database is working on MySQL 8. We have Memcache, RabbitMQ. These three, I did not include them so as to make our project simple and beginner friendly. Okay, so now for the full setup guide, now this is what we need to get serious about, what we are, and intentional about what we are going to be deploying. So first, we need a GitHub account, we need a Docker Hub account. So if you don't have a Docker Hub account, you just need to check all of these things and go and create them. Okay, so once all of these things are there, or if you don't have tools like AWS CLI, if you don't have kubectl, EKSCTL, Helm, Argo CLI, Java, if you don't have these things installed, I tried to put together some CLI tools and a bash script, okay, or bash commands that can permit us to like run and install them. So like if you don't have AWS CLI, we run this one. If you don't have CTL, we run this one. So I have AWS CLI already. I have installed EKSCTL. Okay, I've installed kubectl. I've installed Helm. All right. I've installed Argo CLI. All right. If you want to verify all that, you can run the test to find out. If you realize that you do not have all 5 tools, just if you can run this command. It works on WSL. Okay, I'm working on WSL. So if you're working on a different, maybe Git bash or something else, you maybe have to find out how to adapt to it. You can use AI to help you to go faster. Now, next we have WSL. I noticed some difficulties in connecting. Okay, sometimes it will disconnect, it will crash out for my commands to interact with my cluster. Okay, so I tried to investigate and I found out some command that we can use to correct those issues if you have some issues with me. So if you are facing some issues, there's no problem trying like you come to WSL, and as I say, this one is WSL related problems. Okay, so if you come here, you can maybe copy this command and first of all run it. It will display this IP address that can be used to connect to that uses the Wi-Fi that will connect our Wi-Fi to make it use our internet. So once I have it, I try to get this command work. So I copy this, I run it there. It's going to ask for my password. Next, I have to verify now if my endpoint working. Okay, so if you can come even and just first of all try to get this endpoint. If it works, then you are good to go. If it doesn't, then you need to get back and set this up. So we see this output is showing us that it's fine. It first of all failed and later it responded. So if you come and you run this command and it refuses, then know that you are good to go about setting this up. Okay. So then if actually you have those issues up, then you need to make it permanent by copying this and then pasting, so that the next time if you are running this project on multiple seats, you can at one point off your machine and come back on before you continue. And sometimes if you don't do that, it will make things break. So this one's are just to test. So since I have all of that work up and running and it's fine, then I'm just skipping to this. Next, as I said, we have to clone. After forking, we clone both repositories. This one is for our application code, and this one will carry our manifest files. Okay, so I have all of that already cloned, and here, don't forget this one is inside my app repository. Okay, this I'm inside here. So this readme, I'm following the readme of this repository. Next, now I have to create or update image names to my Docker Hub account. How do I do that? That's update image names to your Docker Hub account. Okay, the pipeline pushes image to Docker Hub under specific username. So I have to come here now. It's inside. Let me return here. If you notice, it says in this file we update all of these. All right, let me come here, open it to the site, and yeah. So now for the environment, now I have the Lumia app, and this one too I have to update it, okay, to be there as well. So this one is for your Docker Hub username, not GitHub. It's Docker Hub. All right. So you put your Docker Hub username here. Then here now is your GitHub username. All right. That is why we see here it's my GitHub username. So I've updated that. Also in the sed command. So if you scroll down, you'll see a place where it writes sed. These two places, line 82 and 83. We have to do the same changes there to put our Docker usernames. Okay, Docker Hub usernames. All right, nice. So after now having this our updates inside this our build and push file, what I need now to do is that I have to create Docker Hub access tokens. Okay, so I have to log into Docker Hub. I'm here in Docker Hub. This you just hub.docker.com, right? You enter this email and sign in if you are not yet signed in. We enter our username and password to continue. Now, I have these containers that are existing, these images existing already. Let me delete so that would do something completely new. So let me come to settings and let me delete that repository. So since you'll be doing it for your very first time, you will not have to delete your own repository. So let me go ahead and delete this as well. Go to settings. Delete that. All right. So both of the repositories are deleted because I want to add my Docker Hub account to be as empty as yours, so that we see as everything is advancing and being done. So then to create now my access token, I'll have to open up my um, notepad, so that I'm going to store the different values that I'm going to be needing in the next steps. So I'll come to my icon here. I think the steps are described inside here. Okay, so I think following the steps, you say log into your Hub the Docker Home account, click your profile account, and then go to account settings, go to security, new access token. So these are the steps that I'm just going to do them, since I have done them before. I'll just come here, I'll go to account settings. Inside account settings, I'm going to select personal access tokens. In the personal access tokens, you see my different access tokens that I have there. So I'm going to click on generate new token. I'll give it a description, and I'll have to take read write. Okay, since I don't want my pipeline to delete, so let me go in with read write only, and let me do generate. All right, so it's going to tell me that successfully generated. You see I have now my personal access token. So let me come and save it here. Let me call it Docker Hub personal access token. Let me paste it there. All right, make sure yours is hidden. Okay, that if any person has access to this, you'll be able to access your Docker Hub account. Let me say Docker Hub username. I'm going to need all of these, the steps ahead. Thanks. After copying that, I can leave this page, or I can close it since I've copied it already. Now, the next thing I have to do is let me continue with my steps. Okay, now it says I have kept my token safe. Now, next thing I have to do is I have to generate an SSH deploy key for the manifest repo. Okay, how do I need to do that? I'll finish with this. I have to just copy this line, and it works as it works with I'm working with bash script. So if you have changes or differences in your own CLI, just try to find out how to do the same command on maybe your own terminal, maybe it's bash script or whatsoever. But I'm sure it can work for bash script. All right, so when I run this command, what it's going to do is that it's going to create me a private key and a public key. Okay, which the name will be manifest deploy key. All right, it says this creates two files, manifest deploy key and pub. So this one is the private key, this one that does not have an extension, and this one is the public key. All right, so I'm going to now use both keys and store them inside my secrets. So it says step 5, it says we have to add the public key to the manifest repo. Okay, so open your manifest repo on GitHub. This is the link to my own manifest repo. So that's what I'm going to do now. Let me come here. This one is the app. This is the manifest. Okay, so I'm going to go to settings. Inside let's say settings, we'll go to deploy key, and then we'll add a deploy key. So I'll come here, settings, deploy key, and since let me delete this, since we are doing everything from afresh. I had one already, so let me add a deploy key. So now I have to come back here, and you see this key now that I deployed there. Which key am I deploying? Is manifest deploy key pub, so it's the public key. All right, so let me do cat manifest. First of all, do ls, so we see the files that have been created. You see I have manifest deploy key and manifest deploy key pub. Okay, so I'm now going to do cat manifest deploy key dot pub. I'm going in with the public key. It's going to give me a one-line key there, which I'm going to copy. Copy that, and I'll take it to GitHub. I'll give it a key name there, and then it asks me to give a title. The title really does not matter, it's just for identification purposes. So I'm going to copy the title there, and I'm going to paste it there as well. If we don't select this, we'll not be able to have write access, okay, because we need to access it, write it to update, carry out some updates. So for now, let's select add key. I have to authenticate. So, okay, you see, it has created now an access token. All right, this access token is simply to permit our pipeline to be able to access in this particular repository to do write there. I'm going to show us in a second. So since I've had my personal access token set up, the next thing now that I have to do is to I've done all of these. I'm just from doing all of these. Now I have to add GitHub Action secrets now to the app repo. This one now we are finished with the manifest repo. Now we are up to the app repo. All right. Remember, you forked your own and it's inside your own repository, so you have them inside your own GitHub account. All right. So now these are the three values that we need to store: the Docker Hub username, the Docker Hub token, and the manifest repo SSH key. Now this one now is the private key. We put the public key in the other as the access token, and now here we have to store now the SSH key for the private access key here. So we have now three secrets that we have to create. To do that, let's go now to add those three secrets, and to do that we say we go to the app repo. Let me go to app repo. This one now is the app repo. We see it here, the app, and let me go to secrets now. Settings. Under settings, deploy key, no, not deploy key, secrets and variables. I'm going to go to actions. Okay, I had stored it. I did that yesterday. Let me just edit it. Okay, yours will not have any of this. So the Docker Hub token now, since I've created a new Docker Hub token, I'm going to come here now and copy it, just making sure that I don't copy anything extra. Or since it's still open here, I can come here and copy it and return here, and I'll paste it, update that secret. So with this secret now, my pipeline inside the app will be able to access my Docker Hub token, my Docker Hub account. The next now, my Docker Hub username, January. So I'm going to update it. Next, is my manifest repo SSH key. It is here. So let me do cat now, and I'll no more do pop. Now is the private one. All right. So I'm going to enter, and it's going to give me. Remember, the secrets, the private secret is longer than the public. So I'm copying now this private one now. I'm taking it to update this repo secret with it, and I'm going to paste it there. Make sure that there is no extra space below here or here. That's where it can easily enter. So I'm going to update my secret now. All right, I have done all those different updates currently. The next step for me now is to try to trigger a build so that it's going to update, or it's going to build images and push inside my Docker Hub account here. Okay, so I need images inside here, because once I'll deploy my app, I need to come and get what is inside here to run. All right, so all those ones are deleted. Remember, we see nothing here. Okay, so what I'm going to come and do now here is let's now see what the pipeline has to do. So to do that, now I'm trying to I'm trying to do now is that I'm trying to make my pipeline to build and run. And before I build my pipeline and make it run, let's first of all understand what each job does. Okay, so my pipeline name is build and update manifest, and I want it to be updated when I push anything to my main branch. Okay, I have to update this my environment variables to reflect this is for my Docker Hub username, my Docker Hub username as well, and this one now is my GitHub username, or the SSH key to my manifest. That's the SSH link to my manifest. How do I get this particular link? Let me show us. We come to our manifest. This one is the app. Let's come to the code. And you come to code here, you select SSH and you copy this link. Okay, this for the manifest. So when I do that, I come here now. I have to update that if I just do not want to compare it word for word what is there. All right. Now, next now I have put in I think 2 jobs. Okay. The first one is to build and push. I didn't include the scans for now for us to have a straightforward understanding of what our application does. So first things first, we have to, this one is always very necessary. We have to first of all check out. This is where we check out. Here now we want to set up our SHA. SHA now we are using this SHA to tag our images. Okay, that's, we do not want to give just random names or same names. We want GitHub build so that at each time we can go back to GitHub and check the particular build and extract the SHA from it so that we can know the different changes that we did to our application. Next, I have to set up my JDK 17, which we already are aware of what happens. This one is to build, and next now is to log in to Docker Hub. So for us to be able to push our images inside Docker, we need to first of all log into it. And you see now where we needed our username and the Docker Hub token. So once to authenticate to Docker Hub so that we can build and push our images to Docker Hub. So now this particular sub job here, what it does is that it builds our app image and pushes it. Okay, so it builds our app image and then we'll push it to our Docker Hub account. So what we do is that this is the app image name. It goes to our environment variables up there, pick the app image name and then the SHA for the tag. And he also adds a latest because he wants every most recent image to have the latest tag attached to it. So next we have to build now and push. This one was for the app image, now is for the database image. Okay, next we now have to update our manifest file. So what happens is that after we have built and pushed to Docker Hub, we want now our manifest files now to have the most recent version of our image that have been built, because each time we build, it builds a new image, and those the new image can come in with changes that we want to apply to our code. So for now, we just have to update our manifest files. How do we do that? First, you remember the SSH key. Okay, so it will upload the SSH key that we stored inside our secrets in GitHub. Once we have our SSH key, it's going now to use the SSH key to clone. All right, so it's going to clone the manifest repo. And once it clones the manifest repo, it's going now to search this this particular file, which has a name. That's, it searches for the image, the Lumia app. Inside this particular file, this is the file that I was looking for. And for us to see whether what that file contains, we're going to look at it in a while. But let me show you inside. This is the file. Okay, so it has to pick this particular app For now, it's pointing to latest. But once we build and deploy it, it's going to update this latest now and point out to the most recent tag that has just been built and uploaded. So this is the file that it comes. It searches for this line, okay, and changes this tag from latest now to the um, tag that has just been pushed. All right. Once this tag has been pushed and updated, now we are going to configure Argo CD. That once it sees this tag updated, Argo CD now will go down and pick the image that corresponds now to this image. All right, and deploy it. That's simply what we are trying to achieve. So then, coming back now to here, we have now once it does those changes, so it has to do these two changes for those two lines now, and it will commit now and push those manifest changes. What it will do is that it's git config the user, and it will add the changed value, and then commit it and then push it. Okay, once it pushes it now, the new deployment is triggered. So let me try to trigger a new deployment. There is a command somewhere below here. Trigger your first deployment. So we come here, line 422, and I'll just trigger a new deployment. Let me try to do so. All right, so it has since I've not done any changes, I just used an empty one to trigger an initial deployment. Okay, so what I'm expecting now is that it's going to trigger now. That's my pipeline to build these images, one for the app and the other for the that's a container for an image for my application and an image for the database. So let me go now to GitHub inside my app, because that's where the pipeline runs, and go to actions and check now if the container is running. So that is it, CI trigger initial deployment, and I have to wait for it to build and push. That's both run, but this one yeah, so it's going to build and push and update both of them, and we're going to see now, go now to manifest, to this manifest repo. Let me even first of all open it here. It is inside helm values.yaml. You see, or anyways, it had changed, because before updating it, I had run it, so it's no more latest. It has changed to something else. But look at this one. This one is 10 9 ed21. Okay, so it's going to change to something else after my pipeline built. So okay, the pipeline has already successfully built. That was fast. Let me come back now and refresh this page. You see it's 10.9 ed21. Let me refresh, and I should be expecting something else. Oh, it had, before I even open it, it had changed, because when I see here, it is now that it ran, and it is instead, before I was opening, and it had already changed. So it's changed 1 minute ago. So I was even showing what had already changed. All right. So anyway, our pipeline has run successfully, and our Helm repository has been updated with the most recent tag. So let's go now to our repository now. If once I refresh, we'll see the two new container images that are that are inside my repository. So once I refresh now, you see I have Lumia DB and I have Lumia app. So if I open this one, I'm expecting to see that 10.9 ed21. Okay, so this is, and this is the latest, the most recent one that was built. So now I have completely successfully built and pushed my container up to my Docker hub, and the next thing is I have to set up my Kubernetes cluster to be able to automatically now run this app. Okay, so All right, so after having triggered my pipeline, it has built, it has deployed something. The next thing that I have to do, I have to go down to my next step, which is step 7, which I have now to provision my EKS cluster. All what I have done so far, the cluster was down, it was not running, nothing was up. Now is where I have now to provision, and the first thing that I can do is that I have to run this command EKS create cluster, all of that. I must note that this particular command works without any issues on WSL. So if you are working with a Git bash or something else, please just if you have errors, just try to you can paste this code on AI. It will edit it and give you your CLI based compatible code. Okay, so we just take this code and run it. It's going to take between 15 to 20 minutes to create a cluster. And what are the characteristics of the cluster that it's going to create? Here we are here we see the different flags. The first thing, this is the name. So it's going to create a cluster named LumiaText EKS cluster inside US East 1. The node group name is LumiaText. That's is going to be giving this name to the different EC2 instances that it's going to create. The EC2 instances that type is going to be T3 medium. For the nodes, it's going to be 2. Now this one is for auto scaling. Okay, for we need minimum 1 and maximum 4, but the desired is 2. So it's going to be managed. All right. So we're going to give it some time to create the cluster, and I'm going to pause my video and come back when it's done. See information messages like this in our log, and it's fine, everything is up. What we do to verify all of that, we come to EKS. You can come here and type EKS, okay, and select the EKS is going to come here. So let me refresh. There we have our EKS cluster that has been created. If we can come to compute, we are going to see our two T3 medium compute resources that have been deployed. If you go to EC2, we're going to see the same thing. Okay, so now what we have to do now is that we have to continue with our setup. First I have to update my kubeconfig, the local kubeconfig file. Now this kubeconfig file is actually a JSON file that permits our local machine to be able to get information about the cluster that is running, so that we can locally run commands and interact with our EKS cluster. So I'm going to run that command, copy it. Okay, you see it has updated now the context. If I run now kubectl get nodes, I'm going to get now sorry, I didn't copy it well. Let me do that again. kubectl get nodes. I'm supposed to see the different I'm supposed to see 2 nodes that are running. The nodes are actually the EC2 instances that are running, by the way. So there they go. There we have the first one, which is running since 5 minutes ago. There's a second one. There's no row that is attached to it, and this is the Kubernetes version that's running on it. Okay, so now let's install AWS EBS CSI driver. Now this is simply a driver that will permit us to use containers with, that's MySQL containers with our Kubernetes cluster. Okay, because in Kubernetes the load not the load, the MySQL database, okay, it's running inside the container, and since it's running inside the container, we are not going to be spinning an RDS database, and so it's going to be spinning now inside a container. And since it's spinning inside a container, we know that containers are short-lived. That's once they run and they are destroyed, all your data goes. So we need a persistence volume. So this driver is more of what is going to permit our container to communicate with the persistent volumes without failing. But if we do not install this, if you forget to do this, once you finish, you realize that your MySQL database never gets to create complete state. It's going to create and reach at one point and it stops. If you are curious, you can not run this line, okay, and finish. You will realize that once you finish, your container will be restarting, but not never getting to a create complete state. So I'm going to run this. It's going to now install this EBS CSI driver. It's going to take a while to install, and the file that is actually running is inside uh, um, what is that? Yeah, this is the file that is actually running. So till now, there is I created also automate bash script that can automate the different processes. So if you want to do them directly, we can go it through that route. All right. So we're going to give it some time to create, and after it finishes creating, we are going to go to the next step. So let me go back to my README, and we're seeing here that that script does three things. It associates an IAM OIDC provider with cluster required for IAM roles and all the right. So, and once it finishes, we have to verify that it's running. And verify. So kubectl get ports is going to give me the ports that are there. So we see we have 5 and 6 that are ready. Here we have 3 on 3, 6 on 6. It has not restarted. Let me run it again and see. It's 6 on 6 that is running. Yeah, so 6 on 6 now. 6 on 6. So everything is up and running. We see that our volume has been claimed to have a GP2 actually. So the next thing now is to install Argo CD. Now, Argo CD is that tool that is going to permit our application to monitor a particular repository for any changes once our pipeline builds. So once our pipeline builds, we want it to update this particular file. If you remember, I showed this values.yaml file, so it will update this values.yaml file. And once there is a change inside this particular file, Argo CD now sees it and then updates the cluster to reflect what is pointed here. All right. So for now, let us install Argo CD first. To do so, I can either yeah, let me just go straight forward, and first things first, I'll create a namespace called Argo CD, and I'm going to do kubectl apply -n Argo CD, and it's going to install Argo CD. So let me just paste it there. It's going to take a while to install as well, but let me be patient. It's going to do that very fast. It first creates a namespace, and next it's going to create now the different ports that are required to run Argo CD. And once all of that is done, we're going to access Argo CD and configure it. So our Argo CD has been successfully installed. Let me check. We have something here that is not yet running. Let me check again. everything is up and running now. So I have to get now the initial admin password. This is it here like this. Okay, let me copy that and make it back. This one is not more useful. Just paste it there. I could see the password. And next, I have to expose Argo CD now via a load balancer service. So all of this is running inside the Kubernetes cluster. So for us to be able to access any service that is inside, we need to launch a service. A service is more like a traffic direction of the different maybe data that's the communication with external and outside world. Okay, if I can put it that way. So let me create now a load balancer, which is a service in Kubernetes. I'm going to enter and it's going to create a load balancer. Before it creates it, let me first of all come here very fast and show us that no load balancer is, oh, it's already in the create mode. It's created today, just now. So once I launched it launched it directly. It's a classic load balancer. I thought I would catch it before it came up. So anyways, it's already it's already created it. Next now I have to copy the next command and paste it. Okay, so this is the load balancer URL. So I'm going to copy now this URL now to my browser and enter it. It's going to take a while. It's not yet up. It's still provisioning. So I'm going to give it some time to provision before I'll be able to access anything. And it's a few minutes, and I'll refresh again. Anyways, while that is being provisioned, okay, before going to the application, it says I need between 1 and 2 minutes for it to come up, so let me pause a bit. Need to be patient. Load balancers. State is not yet available. It's internet facing. I'm sure it's coming up now. Okay, it has come up, but now this is the browser that's warning us that it's not an HTTPS endpoint. But since we know what we're going to continue running with HTTP. So there we go. It's going to load now Argo CD. We're going now to use this password that I saved here to access Argo CD. The username is admin. Password is what I just copied, and I'm going to sign in. It's going to bring me here. Okay, that was fast. So everything is running inside the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, I'm just from setting up Argo CD. Let me verify if I have everything as far as the commands are concerned. This one was to extract it's not HTTPS, it's HTTP, because I've not requested the certificate. So now I'm going to create an Argo CD application. Now I can use one of two ways to do this. Okay, I can either use this manual step, or I'll use the CLI to create an application. But this one goes fast. This is DevOps mindset. But for now, let's use this so that we understand what Argo CD does. So let me come here. I'll create an application called Tech. Let me create an application. I'll give it a name, Tech. Okay. Project name. Let me give it default sync policy. So this one now is between manual and automatic. Okay. For the manual, what happens is that for synchronization, I need to each time come and click on synchronization before it synchronizes. But if I choose automatic, it's going to synchronize automatically. That's once there is a change, it's going to synchronize automatically. But since we are working, we are trying to understand how the thing works, let's try to do a manual synchronization. For namespace, let's auto create, because we're going to give it a new namespace here, which we want it, once it sees a namespace, it's going to create all the resources inside that namespace that we want it to create inside there. For the repository URL now, I have to give the URL of the manifest, that's the manifest repository. Okay, so I have to make sure that I'm inside the root, I'm at the root level of my repository. So I'm going to come here now and copy that URL of there. Once I copy it, I'm going to come in here now and paste it. Once I paste it, it's going to load for a while now. So if I come here, we see it's already showing me helm/Tech, because my manifest, the helm manifest files are inside there. If I come in here, I have to see this is helm/Tech. Okay, and inside there, that's where we have the different manifest files. Let's first of all run it. We'll return and understand what is inside the different manifest files. So I've selected that one. Destination, the cluster URL, I'll just select what proposes to me. And for the namespace, let me give it Tech. Okay. Now for the values file, now you remember the values file that I showed you, that's what Helm is going to be monitoring. For these other different values now, you see this app now is 10.9 ed21. This is what it has seen inside here. If you open here values.yaml, you see this is 10.9.ed21. all right, so if I come back here now, you see it has already seen that the same for the database. For the DB password, I think it's admin123 that is encoded. Anyway, if this one fails to get into the application, we're going to change for it to be admin123. So anyways, let's create the app. Hopefully it gets created. So okay, it has created now. I'll not refresh here. Let me open it so we see what is going on. So this is what it has seen inside our different manifest files. Okay, this is what our different manifest files are saying. And once I'll select sync now, it's going now to deploy all those content, all those pods. Okay, the pods now are that's the pod in Kubernetes is the least compute instance that runs one container, if I can give a description like that. So now let me click on sync, and yeah, I'm going to leave auto create namespace, and then I'm going to do synchronize. You see, in a twinkle of an eye, it has deployed, all those pods have been deployed, right? These pods now have been deployed. We're going to see it's going to rotate for a while now, and it's showing it's healthy. This one is showing it's healthy. This is showing, these are two pods, okay, for my app and for the database. All right, simply because inside my manifest file, the replicas was 2 and here it was 2. So basically that's what we are just from doing. So let me be sure it is not that driver that is causing it not to deploy. It's running, that's started and it's ready. The health is progressing, so it's checking the health to make sure that the health is fine. Okay, so there it's checking the health. If it's healthy now, it's going to make us see that it is actually healthy. So for now, what we have just done is that we have deployed our application now to um, through Argo CD, and we see our pods that they are up and running. We have services, we have ingress. So this is the persistent volume claim. This is app secret, linear app secret, and all those things. So next, I'm going to pause this video here to do not make it to be too long so that we have time to digest this one. And after this, I'm going to continue the same video that is going to show us how actually it works. And I'm going to, let me just pause a bit to make sure that this one runs. I don't see why it's not yet showing healthy. It's the health check that is still checking. Okay, there they are. There we go. They are open. They are running now, so we need not worry henceforth. Now, I haven't yet exposed our database to, that's our application to the outside world. Let me try to do that so that we can use www.lumiatech.com so as to access our app. There, I want to access my app through this. Now you see my app is not reachable because I have not configured Route 53 to be able to allow me to access through this. Okay, so it's true, it's a crafty type of situation that can permit us to reach this, but for now let's just first of all try to understand how to reach this point, okay, before we see how we proceed from here by making our application now accessible and the outside world to be able to see. Okay, so I'm going to stop here now.